It'll be one to go this time by. Coming to the green, buddy. Coming to the green. Let's go get him. Go, go, go. Dig, dig, dig. Go, 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 go.
Get your motor running. Head out on the highway.
Looking back a couple of weeks ago when Jimmy was down a lap and the lucky dog rule gave him that back, he was able to get back up there and contend for a win. As a driver who works hard to put guys down a lap and then they get that back, what do you make of this lucky dog rule, and is there a better way to get around all this?
Well, I think it's important to note why we have the lucky dog rule. We got to go back and remember why we have it. When we lock the field in, when the caution comes out, we lock the field, no more passing. That took away the opportunity to race the leader back to get your lap back. That was the beginning of the lucky dog rule. The lucky dog rule has some other advantages that are competition advantages, keeping more cars in the lead lap. Even though, and listen, the last 2 weeks I've used a lucky dog, so I can't complain a whole lot. But in some ways it's very frustrating because you do put a lot of people down, and then late in the race you start getting a lot of cautions and you get a lot of people back in the lead lap. In some ways that's frustrating. But I think it's really important to remember why we have the lucky dog rule. And over time, we sometimes forget why do we have this rule. We have the rule because it took away the opportunity for you to race the leader through a wreck to beat him to the start-finish line to get your lap back. It took away that opportunity. So it's real important to remember that's why we have the lucky dog rule.
Okay, we'll go Monty, Al, and Jay. Go.
Monty Dutton, Justin Gazette. Jeff, we all know that there's a sort of a war of attrition. Last week, Carl Edwards did all he could do, cut a lot out of it, but there's 2 races instead of 3, and there's less margin of error, even though he closed the margin. What was the more significant aspect of last week? Was it Edwards winning, or was it Jimmy Johnson pulling out a decent top 15 finish?
I'll tell you in 2 weeks. I mean, if Jimmy Johnson finishes top 5 the next 2 weeks, it's of no consequence. Well, that's not true. It makes top 15 more important. That's correct. If Carl Edwards finds a way to win the championship by a narrow amount, then it would be Carl Edwards winning the race. So it's hard to tell just yet until we have all the facts.
All right, let's go Al, Jay, and then we'll probably end with Jerry.
Jeff
We'll
Al
end with
Pierce, Auto
Dustin.
Week.
Go.
A non-NASCAR question. Last weekend, the Formula One Championship came down to the last turn on the last lap of the last race, without a playoff, without a chase. A black man won it without a diversity program. Why won't that work out here?
It will, but not every year. Not every year is going to have a championship that goes down to the last lap, last corner. Some years will, some years won't. This year the World Series was won in 5 games, I believe. Didn't take 7. Last year's Super Bowl, I think, was a compelling Super Bowl. There's been many of them that I went to sleep halfway through the game. It can happen here, and it will happen here, but it's not going to happen every year. The diversity thing is really, to me, is, I don't understand everything I need to understand about it. This is what I know beyond a shadow of a doubt. I know the more young people that we can get in motorsports, of no matter what race, no matter what gender, the more young people we can get into motorsports, the more opportunity that we have to have more diverse drivers. If I started racing when I was 7 years old, and I bet you that almost everybody that comes in here this morning started racing when they were 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 years old. We can't take a minority driver at 17 and say, hey, let's put him in a cup car. It doesn't work. He's 10 years too late. We got to find a way to bring this sport to all people, to all young people. That's where it starts. And how we do that, I don't know. I do not know. I know for a fact that this sport is open to all people. How we extend the arm to bring in more young people and involve them in go-karts, quarter midgets, motorcycle racing. How we do that, I don't know. But that's the beginning of fixing the problem. We can't fix the problem with an 18-year-old. We got to fix the problem with a 5-year-old.
All right, we're going to take 3 more questions. Jay, Jerry, Dustin, go.
Jeff, you just said that you don't like judging drivers of today, but I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you had to sort of make a pick of the best driver of the year right now, and I know we still have 2 races left, but if you had to make a pick, who would you go with right now? Who would you be your choice?
Kyle Busch would be my choice. Why? You didn't say why. You just said I had a pick. Because when you say driver, you know, I look at a broader scope and what he's done in all 3 series. I mean, ultimately, I just think Kyle's done a remarkable job this year, even though they're not going to win a championship. He walked into a new situation, a situation that hadn't really had success for a while. And immediately that car started winning and running in the front. And everything he sat in this year has run fast. So, you know, to me, that would be who I would award it to.
2 more questions. Jerry and then Dustin. Go ahead.
Jerry Bunkowski, Yahoo Sports. 2-part question real quick. One, how do you as a driver quantify, justify, whatever the word you want to use, when you're not in it anymore? I mean, how do you change your mindset, first of all? And secondly of all, Jimmy and Carl, and to an extent Greg and yourself right now, are you guys, because the championship is so tight, that you really can't do anything for next year? That you're in, because Jimmy started off kind of slow this year because of what happened last year.
Well, I think that we can be doing stuff for next year. I think that first of all, what makes you better this week is next week is being good this week. I mean, you know, this thing just builds on itself. We have to maybe work a little bit harder in the, you know, but you know, I don't think we're in the position where we can't be making ourselves better for next year. When you decide that you can't win the championship, you know, what happens to people, I don't know. For me, you know, I take a lot of pride in being, as I spoke earlier, finishing as high as we can. We aren't out of it right now, although I understand it's, you know, it doesn't look very good for us. But, you know, my mindset is to, you know, you never know what can happen. And that's what's woken me up the last 3 weeks. And I hope that wakes me up next week too. That's all you can do.
Final question. Go ahead, Dustin.
Dustin Long, Landmark Newspapers. Jeff, so far this season there have been 12 different winners, which would be the fewest number right now since 1999 when there were 11 different winners. What I wanted to ask you is there's always been this idea of 15, 20 guys could win pretty much any given weekend. Has that become a fallacy with only 12 guys winning? And also if you look at the top 3 guys, Johnson, Edwards, and Busch, have combined to win 22 of 34 races, which is a largest total of 3 guys in the last 10 years also.
You're asking me why that is? Or no, I don't. I think it is, although not probably going to happen this year, I think it's much more likely to happen next year. I think it's important to note that with the car tomorrow, there is a dynamic that's been going on the last 18 months of learning the car, understanding how to use the car, and I think that when you figure that out, you have a distinct advantage, as always in motorsports. But I think the longer we have the car, the more opportunity people are going to have. More people are going to have opportunity to be successful. Short term, you know, my fear of the car tomorrow is actually less competition, because anytime you do something new, some people hit it and some people don't. Long term, though, I think the car tomorrow has the potential to create even more opportunity for more people to win. So I think that's what we're seeing. Why that number is lower is I just think it's a component of the car tomorrow. Although I do believe long term the car tomorrow will present more opportunity for more people to win.